Well, hey everybody, welcome to Wednesday night's training Thursday. All the days seem to blend together, but it's Joe Licciardi coming to you live from Missoula, Montana. And you know, it has been, well, I said I'm coming up for air and I'm coming up for air. There's a lot of things that we've been doing behind the scenes, and it's really been exciting of what's going on. And that's why I haven't done, much live in a while. But tonight I wanted to come up and just reach out to everybody. But the topic of what I want to talk about tonight, I think it's important for everybody here. It doesn't matter where you're at in your life. And I talked to a few of you already, kind of, we're all going through these different challenges. So tonight I chose the word, the word focus, right? So when you hear the word focus, I want you to think about right now, what does that word mean to you? What triggers in your mind when you hear the word focus, right? Do you think of, do you think of an object that, that object that you bring into focus, kind of like, if you're, a photographer and you always see them bring it into focus, their object, right? Is that what you think about when you hear the word focus? Or, do you think about, when you hear the word focus, do you think about, well, I really need to focus on my work? Focus, it means, to zero in on my work, or maybe I need to focus on my relationship or my children. So whatever the word focus means to you and what it triggers, right? Anything is pretty much correct. But tonight, the focus that I'm going to be talking about is, are you focused on your dreams? Are you focused on your dreams and your goals? So that's the focus that I'm going to be talking about. And before, I jump into that, when I pick a word out that I want to use to build my training around, I always like to get what is the word, what is the definition of the word that I'm going to be using, that I'll be using in my illustration. So, when the word focus, let me see what the dictionary says about focus. And here's what it says. It's the center of interest or activity. It's the center of interest or activity. And so when you think about that, it's the center of all of our interests, or just the important ones, or whatever. But when you put interest or activity together, so whatever where you have interest in, are we doing the activities around it? That whatever it is we're focused in. So I love that part. And the second part, it says the state or quality of having or producing clear visual definitions. Let me repeat that. It's the state or quality of having or producing clear, and it says visual definition. So most of you know me that I'm a very visual person. I always like to cast the vision. I always like to look into, and I say the future, but I always like to look at the end results or whatever it is that I'm focusing on. And and because I've used that intention of focus so much in my life to, and I say acquire things, and that acquire things means a lot of different things, from, of course, success in network marketing to, my relationship with my family, my wife, and my son's recovery. All these things really are, the having focus and producing a clear visual definition of what I want. And these, these are good. These are, these are all good definitions, and I kind of elaborated on the definition from the dictionary. But I added this. This is one of my definitions personally. It's the ability to disregard all distractions on the journey towards your goals, or having tunnel vision, being only able to focus on the end results. That's the Joe Licciardi definition that I came up with. It's the ability to disregard all distractions on the journey towards your goals, or having tunnel vision, tunnel vision, and being able to focus on the end results. So when I thought about that, the tunnel vision, and the ability to focus on the end results, it reminded me of, as I was growing up, I had my falconer's license. And for those that don't know what falconry is, it's the art of the bird. You have a bird of prey, and what you do is you take a bird that is known, or their instincts are to be wild and free, and you kind of unravel that and train them on to be dependent upon you and not the wilds. It's an interesting thing. It takes a lot of time. So so I thought, well, let's look at the eagles. See, all birds of prey have excellent long distant vision. In other words, they can see so far into what they're looking at, or I like to use, they can see into their future. But the eagles stand out the most. They have by far the most ability to see the farthest. They can see clearly about 8 times as far as us humans can see, allowing them to spot, and listen, to spot and focus in on a rabbit or another animal at a distance of about 2 miles. 2 miles. So let me put that in perspective. You're standing, I want you all right now to stand on a road that's just you and the road. And maybe there's a yellow line going down that road to divide. I want you to stand there and I want you to look 2 miles down. Look at the 2 mile marker. I'll give you an idea what that means. 2 miles is the distance of 10,560 feet. Imagine that, 10,560 feet, or it's the distance of 35 football fields end to end to end, 35 football fields end to end to end. Now, if you think about that, I mean, that's really mind blowing if you can see clearly at that distance, you know. So, well, we would love to see that far, but the eagle can see that far. Not only can they see that far, but they're able to pick up an animal the size of a rabbit and see it clearly. I don't think if we saw a rabbit on the road 2 miles away, we would even be able to see anything. So think about a 2 mile distance, how focused that eagle has to be to pinpoint that rabbit as its prey to take off. To give you a little example, we got a little video I want to show. It's a 1 minute video, but here's what I want you to watch. I don't want you to watch the act of what the bird is doing. I want you to focus on his eyes and his ability to focus in on his prey. So let's watch this video.
That they can never see coming. The bald-headed eagle.
To me, that is awesome to watch this magnificent bird, right? With pinpoint accuracy, with laser focus, right? Swoop down and get its fish. Now we're out here in Montana, and I was just telling Spencer, it's, I know some of you maybe, you know, I don't take for granted anytime I see a bald eagle, and there's all kinds of, yesterday I was out and just outside the coach, and I mean, no more than 50 yards up, there's this bald eagle that coming by circling. It's one of the greatest things to see. But if you notice in that video, the eyes of that eagle were so focused in on its prey. I mean, they were so focused that they did not leave its prey. And if you watched it as he bared down into the water with his talons out, his head did not lose focus of that prey and snatched it up. Well, you think that eagle did that on the very first try? I don't think so. Second try, I don't think so. You see, it took practice and it took patience to do it over and over and over again. You see, even though the eagle can see 2 miles down the road, I believe we have the ability to see much farther. You see, I believe our minds can see much farther than that. Our minds can focus and see our goals and dreams well into the future, because that's our ability and that's what our minds can do. So let me tell you a little about having that kind of focus. As I mentioned, I have my falconer's license, and it was a long time ago. But I want to tell you one thing about the sport. There is nothing like it out there. Yes, it's a sport. If you ever study the art of falconry, it's a beautiful thing because the kings of old times, and even today, you'll see people in Arabia and things like that always having these falcons with them. You see, what you're basically doing is you're taking a bird, right, that its natural instincts are to fly away from you, not towards you. They're supposed to fly away from you, and you're the process of getting your bird to trust you enough to come to you when it's called upon. It's a very long it's a very long process, and you must be extremely patient. So I'm going to give you a rundown so you can understand what it takes. But keep in mind, this is all about the word focus. You see, at first, when you get your bird first, they're extremely wild and they're never a pet. I learned that the hard way. They're never a pet. And what you need to do is you need to get the bird to where he starts eating from you. And it's unfortunately that they don't do that right away, but they get to the point where they're very hungry and you're with your big gauntlet on and you get the bird finally where they were not flying all over the place in their special cage. It's not a cage, it's a wooden thing we make. And they start eating from your hand. They literally will start eating from your hand. So that's the first part of trust, but it can take several days to do that. Once they start feeding from your hand, you take a step back and you want them to actually reach for your food now. You want them to reach way out beyond their perch. Now they're still holding on. Once they do that successfully, you step back again. Now you want them to literally step onto your fist and leave the perch. And that's a big challenge. So once they're able to step on, you can imagine what happens next. You just keep going back further, one step at a time further, and one step at a time further and further. The falconer, myself, in my mind, I know what the end result is, what I'm looking for. I'm looking for at the end result, we're going to have a free flying bird that will hunt for me and recall every single time I recall it. It's kind of like the journey to our goals in our dreams. You see, we have to stay focused on what we want at the end, not at the beginning, because the beginning is where we get all the crap, guys. And let's face it, right now we're all going through a lot of that. We really are. And so, but if we really truly want the things in the end, we'll stay focused. So little by little, I keep stepping back until I'm 100 yards away, flying with a long tether. It's really amazing to watch these birds, right? Once you feel comfortable at the bird is flying to you on recall, we have these special whistles and these birds have these special bells. The long awaited day comes when you set your bird on its perch, but now you remove its tether. And now you're thinking, oh my gosh, I put in literally hundreds of hours in this bird. Yes, I trust it, but now it has the ability to run away. But see, what I didn't realize until pretty much right now, that bird didn't even know that it had a tether on it. It was focused on what, everybody? It was focused on its end result, which is the food I had in my hand. So I back away 100 yards, and if I did it correctly, I blow my whistle, and the bird takes off. And it's flapping its wings and flapping its wings, just like you saw that eagle did. And as it got closer to my fist, it starts backpedaling, swoops up, and lands on it. And you do that time and time and time again. So you're saying, okay, Joe, what the heck does this have to do with focus? Well, I'll tell you, it has everything to do with focus. You see, I have looked deep into the eyes of a bird of prey when it's focusing on an object. And there's no other look like that. You see, and that same look is the look of a champion. That same look is the look of an entrepreneur. He's failed over and over and over again. He says, I will win. It's you and me that fight every day to get ahead. You see, we have that same focus. But you see, when the bird has learned to focus on you being its object, the end result, there is a reward there. And because there's a reward there, they zero in on this target and do not allow for any outside distraction to take them away from their final object, which is the food. Now, replace that food, everybody, with your focus and what you want at the end of the day, what you're looking for through your dreams and goals. And you know, I know I'm talking to everybody here, and look, I know it's summertime and we've gone through a lot, but it's just nothing changes, everybody. The only thing changes is our focus. The only thing changes is our intention. And the more that we can stay focused and refocus, the closer we can get to whatever it is that we're looking for. You see, when I would free fly my bird, and after he would miss its prey, I would recall him. And sometimes I would recall him and he's well over a mile off in the distance. And so as I blow my whistle, I could literally watch the bird, even though I couldn't see clearly, I could hear its bells, that he would turn towards me and begin his journey back to where he knows there is a reward waiting for him. So the bird missed its prey, he takes off, and if I don't blow my whistle, guess what happens? He loses his focus. He will go somewhere else. He's not going to come find me until I blow that whistle and I get him to refocus. And once I get him to refocus, I can hear the bells coming closer and closer with each flap. And finally, once the bird's in my sight, I can see him bearing down. Now that he can see me, and he can zero in on me, which remember, I'm his reward, I'm his end goal. He starts picking up his speed with each stroke of his downwards. And all I could see was his head and his eyes squarely fixed on my fist as his, basically his rewards. And within the last 100 yards, when he's 100 yards of me, I could see that his eyes just totally zeroed in on my fist and his rewards, and his wings began to beat faster and faster. When he was within 20 feet of me, he would take a very low position to the ground and then begin to swoop up, talons out, backpedaling, and bam, he would hit my fist. The feeling of seeing your bird return to you time and time again, there's nothing like it else in the world. Hey, Spencer, can you mute everybody, please? There's nothing like it in the world. And I say this because it's no different than us achieving our end results. You see, if we're so focused on something, right, that nothing distracts us, we will eventually get to those end results. Okay, and as I said earlier, let's be real. It's summertime, everybody's outdoors enjoying the weather. There's a lot of distractions going on that have taken away from the very thing that gets you to where you want to be. And that's called losing focus, right? You have to, and I'll use the word prey because we just watched the bird or an eagle. You have to focus back in on your prey. What is that prey to you? Is it financial freedom? Is it, just getting health? Whatever it is, you have to stay focused, everybody. Yeah, I want to talk about wholesale because, I'm a VP of sales, but it's still about life, everybody. You can apply these simple principles to your everyday life about having such an intention with your focus that nothing will get in your way. So, the story about that I gave you about my experience in falconry, not only did I need to stay focused on the end results. But you see, I need to be consistent with my training each and every day. It's like doing productive activities, right? Doing that gets you to wherever it is that you want to go. And I'll talk about wholesale, doing the basic fundamental principles of building your network marketing business. Doesn't happen overnight, doesn't come easy. It comes with a lot of commitment and a lot of focus every single day. I'm telling you, when I was in my falconry days, I did not miss one day of training my bird. It literally would take months to get the bird trained to perform the way I described above. Months. Were there setbacks? Heck yeah. Did I ever have my bird take off and get pulled by the tether? You bet. That was a setback for me because you know what I had to do? I could not start at the distance that I was. I had to go all the way back to the beginning and build his trust and my trust together. First, take it out of my hand, jump to my fist, step back. I literally had to take it over and over, but I was so determined and so committed to the end result that I did not stop training. Did I lose focus on the end results? Absolutely not. So how did I stay the course no matter what came at me? You see, it was my commitment on the end goal, which was to have my bird fully trained to my commands. You see, it's such an intense process because I literally have to change the bird's entire natural instincts, which was to fly away and be free. I had to train that bird to be dependent upon me. And that's why it's such a long process to accomplish. But you want to know what? Once you got your bird to that point of dependence upon you, it's such an emotional feeling that I cannot even describe. But I'll tell you, each and every one of us probably have had that feeling once upon a time. Well, for those that are parents out there, having your firstborn, it's an emotional feeling, right? Because 9 months you focus on the end results. Or when we talk about success in business, I could think back when Teresa and I reached the level of success that we did in our first network marketing company, and we had financial freedom. It was an emotional feeling that literally I would cry thinking about thanking God for what had happened. It was such an emotional feeling. So, and I don't want you to understand something, that as a falconer, when it came time to release my bird, it was a very emotional time because we had such a strong relationship. I had such a strong relationship with my bird. I don't think the bird could care less about me, but I had the strong relationship with him. But it wasn't a pet relationship. It was more like a partnership that we were joined at the hip. So, every bird was released back into the wild, and, they went on and did their thing. So why did I just go through all this to talk about the word focus? Well, I'll tell you, in life, there will be many times that we will want something really bad, something that could be so small or large. And the only way we can get whatever that is through our intentional focus, or being intentional about our focus, that we can achieve that which we desire. So you have to be very intentional about whatever it is that you want. And I've been doing this for a long time, everybody. And I've always heard the aspirations of about what everybody wants, but it's really depending on how bad you want that object. And I'll just use object because it could be anything for anybody. And how much attention and focus you put into getting that object will determine the end results. But it takes focus, it takes commitment, it takes patience, it takes having to do it over and over again. Yes, we can get sidetracked, right? We can get sidetracked. But like my bird, when it would get sidetracked, I'd go back to the beginning and refresh the bird's memories. And in my mind, my commitment to get this bird to work for me, I'd have to be very patient and start over. So I always say, the bigger the goal, the more focus needs to be applied. It's like you must put on those horse blinders in order to get to where you want to be. It's like when, when my bird would get distracted along the way, coming back to me. No, let me say it this way. When I was recalling my bird, were there a lot of distractions on its way from its mile away from me to me? Oh, you betcha. But as long as I kept blowing that whistle, right? What was that bird focused on? He was first focused on, well, that whistle means there's food at the end of that whistle. And no matter what came up, in front of my bird, he knew that if he took his eyes off the end results, he might just go hungry that night. And so he would stay focused in on that, no matter what other distractions were around him. And so if your goals and your dreams really mean something to you, and they're such a big part of your why and why you're, want to break free from the normal, right? If they're big enough, you must stay focused. So what we all do when we lose focus. So what do we all do when we lose focus? What do you need to do when you lose focus of the object that we want? Well, first you must evaluate, and this is important. You must evaluate whatever it is that you truly wanted from the wholesome business that will help you to provide for you. Was it truly worth going after? And some of you might say, it really wasn't. And that's okay. But if it's really, truly worth going after, whether it was financial independence or being able to pay off your mortgage or, through your wholesome business or, the new car, the remodel for the house, whatever motivated you to join HOLSA, were those things that you set up as your goals and your vision, were they really important? I can't answer that. You have to answer that. I'm just talking about what your focus is. Where was your focus when you started, and where is your focus going to be in the future? You see, if none of those things were important to you, then no amount of focus can you have or will have to be able will achieve for you to get there what you wanted. So no matter if your focus wasn't, scratch that, if your goals were not big enough or your desire to achieve those goals were not that strong of a desire, no matter how much focus you put into it, it's not going to work. It's just not going to work. Now, on the other hand, if those things are still important to you, then all you need to do is first evaluate where you're currently at in regards to moving towards your end results. Evaluate it. Step back and say, have I done all the things that I know that I'm supposed to be doing? Am I moving forward towards that end result of what it is that I want, or am I moving away from it? You're either moving towards it or you're moving away from it. It's pretty that simple. Then once you evaluate that and you say, yeah, I haven't been, then make a commitment to refocus your intention and your energy towards that which you desire. And you'll be amazed that, you know, look, most of you haven't even been in this thing for 6 months. I mean, some of you might be a little longer, but it's still a very new business. Yes, and we've gone through a lot here in America. We've gone through a lot, and there's a lot of things going on, and you know, maybe there are some issues that are more important, and I get it. And there aren't. Things come up in life that are more important. And for me, you know, when something happens in my family, that's more important than anything, and I will take care of that. I will drop everything and focus on that. And there's no, you know, that's just what you should do. But outside of that, you know, if you need to refocus, you know, on the things that you truly want to desire, and you truly evaluate yourself to say, you know, I really haven't had much intention on doing, or I don't have the intention and the focus to get to where I want to go, I need to go ahead and refocus. And once you see yourself moving in the right direction, like that, like my hawk or that eagle, don't turn to the left and don't turn to the right. Stay focused on the end results and just go after it, everybody. Just go after it. You know, I know it's a lot easier said than done. And you might be saying, Joe, yeah, you don't know my situation. And that's possible, everybody. I mean, and I get that. Everybody has different things that they go through in life. And you know, my heart goes out to everybody that is struggling right now, struggling financially, health-wise, whatever your struggles are. The only thing that I want to do tonight was to help you understand what the word focus means. You know, whether you apply it to wholesale, you just apply it to your life. Staying focused and having that tunnel vision, right? And being able to pinpoint your object, or your object 2 miles down that road, right? Which could be very far down that road for us, which is your end result, just like the eagle can see that far. If you can capture whatever it is that you want from life and continue staying focused and continue committing yourself and continue doing the necessary steps to get there, you'll get there. But here's what I see so many times in network marketing. For those that don't get there, they say that doesn't work, right? Network marketing doesn't work. Remember, I said that 7 times. I said that 7 times until I realized I wasn't doing the proper activities to get me the results that I truly desired, or the results that everybody said, oh, you can make so much money. I realized that I personally did not do the necessary steps that I needed to do in order to be successful. And once I understood those basic fundamental principles to help me get successful, I not only did it once, not only did I do it twice, but I did it 3 times, and I built 3 different companies to a very high level. That all I did was I understood in my mind, first, I got to have the right focus. Number 2, I got to attach the activities, as the definition talked about. I got to attach the activities to my focus to get to where I want to go. Well, everybody, hope you enjoyed tonight. I'm glad I was able to come to you live, and I'll continue trying to get to the live events. And there's a lot of things happening in wholesale, as I said, behind the scene, and you'll know soon enough. And hopefully we can make some announcements here in the coming month. But we're the second half of August. And look, for those that are enjoying the product, continue enjoying the products. For those that want to rebuild, I'm here to help you rebuild, and just send me a message and do whatever it is that we need to do to get you restarted again. Okay, everybody? Well, I want to thank you for joining tonight. I'll sign off by saying, hey, everybody, this is Joe Licciardi saying, God bless, good night from Missoula, Montana. Have a great week. Thanks, Dustin. Bye, everybody.